do, mate.
Surely. There you go. That's outstanding. That much talent running around in our own backyard.
Ladies and gentlemen, the semi-pros. The semi-pros.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Let's go.
Well, welcome along to the Semi-Pros for another week. Great to have your company on the show. What a big week it has been. The panel's with me again as always. Steve Glover, how are you?
Good evening, mate. Very well. Very well. Back. Another action-packed bit of sport going on this week.
Like what?
The pretend broom brooms got around last night.
Did you tune in?
I did watch a little bit, yeah, because I sitting in there and a young fella I was with had a wager on the result and got up, so they're cheering at home. So good on it. Who said it needs to stop?
You can bet on anything, can't you? Joel Stower, how are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Good to be back for another week.
Excellent. Troy Gurski, what's happening?
Not much, mate. Yeah, just sitting at home and watching a few reruns of some classic games at the moment. There's been some crackers on there too, on all sports, but yeah, it's been at the moment.
What have you been watching?
Watched a bit of college basketball the other day, watched a few NRL great games, and just watching a few of the shows where all the boys are bringing out their best of teams of the decades. Listen to one that old Jeff Turvey brought out the other day, the old Manly team. She's a team from back in the day. But yeah, it's been good to hear a few of those fellas' thoughts, actually.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to come up with a best ofs team. We'll look at that as a segment on the show.
Yeah.
But look, plenty happening, guys, NRL-wise. Our special guest joining us on the program. He's live now via link from the sunny coast. Steve Price, how are you? Can you hear us, Pricey? Hopeful of having him on there, so don't know if he can hear us at this stage, but yeah, Steve Price is going to join us on the program. A lot happening with rugby league. We saw the announcement today, of course, around there looks like there will be, announcing a start date for the NRL competition and sort of what composition makes up the competition. But hopefully we can. I think Steve's talking, but I don't know if he can hear us. So we can't hear him at this stage. So we'll hopefully get that sort of rectified. But there a lot happened in the NRL today with the announcement that the new season would be just around the corner. They're talking about a May 28 kickoff date or somewhere around there. So how the actual competition is made up is going to be one of a fair bit of interest, and just exactly how they make it all happen. I said things that have been changing rapidly and all the time. But boys, what your reaction, Steve, to the news today? What did you think?
Yeah, well, I went into a bit of detail. I thought, they've announced that 28th of May is going to be the date, and they've obviously looked into how and what they're going to do. But no, nothing really. They haven't thought about how they're going to get around the, I suppose, the government regulations and the bubble restrictions, what they were calling it. They're hoping to not go with the bubble, but I don't know. I just don't see how they can make it work without isolating everyone to one area. And it's going to be a massive ask on the players. I know they're, I suppose that is their profession, and for the good of the game, I suppose, to get that running, they're going to have to do something and make some sacrifices. But that's a massive ask if they're going to have to be away from families, all that sort of thing in isolation. It's going to be a huge effort on everyone's behalf to get it up and running. But saying that, I think it'd be fairly welcomed by the community to have a bit of sport to get behind and watch as well. So
we'll get some early retirements, won't we? Like if they've got to go into isolation, I can see some blokes, at the back end of their career. I can see a couple of blokes are putting it, like Cameron Smith. It'd be a big decision for him, wouldn't it, with his family and whatnot at the back of his career, whether he wants to do that and go on with his career, whether it was going to go for 1 year or maybe two. It might call an end to a few blokes in Cameron's position.
Yeah, definitely.
I think obviously their contracts will play a big part of that too, though. If they want to see the dollars at the end of the road, they're obviously going to have to play some footy, aren't they?
Yeah, some of them, obviously, they've made their money, haven't they, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, and it just might be the thing that they go, bang, I'm out.
But it was, again, like that I was talking about a couple of weeks back, does it sort of prolong some of these guys that haven't played the however many rounds
that
now
too,
we've
yeah.
missed on too. You know, does it then give them the incentive to go, oh, well, I can play again next year as well?
Yeah. So, no, it's look very much interesting time. So, I'll see if – have we got a special guest with us? Steve Price, can you hear us?
How are you?
Good, mate. Good to have you with us.
Hello.
Yeah, where are you? Where are you holed up these days?
Where am I? I'm at Sunny Coast at the moment. Just obviously when, the word come through, it was about the 23rd of March. Sort of got a call from Hilly to say that we're on leave without pay. So decided to pack all the furniture up and move back because it was so unknown, mate. Like you can't sort of afford the rent down in Sydney for as long as unknown. So we thought we'd shoot back up here around the family, and then if it started back up again, then I'll go back down.
So I suppose and you crossing the border, so have you had to go into 14 days of quarantine or isolation? Is that the go?
So day 9 today out of 14. So into the double figures tomorrow. It'll be good with the wife and my eldest daughter.
So you're all still getting along?
It's tough, mate. Yeah, it's not very much fun. But, no, it's been good. It hasn't gone as far as I thought it would, but, certainly getting a bit of work done and catching up on some Blinkist and reading and listening to sort of things to make me a bit better, hopefully.
So with the news coming through today, Pricey, were you aware of that? Did you see it like we did just when Wayne Pearce announced it at a press conference? So we talked about you've moved back home, you're in quarantine, you have to be in quarantine for 14 days. Now they're talking about starting up on the 28th. How much knowledge or what do you know about it? Or, is it all news to you today like it was to the rest of us?
Yeah, I think, there's announcements all the time. Obviously, the game's trying to get going. Queensland's shut off. New South Wales, how quickly that changes. You got New Zealand that's completely shut off. Talking about the boys before, and I'd say the Queensland boys and probably the New Zealand boys, maybe even the Victorian boys would have to be somewhere in New South Wales if it was going to go ahead. If the restrictions that are currently continue, whether it's a scenario of like we had sort of round 2 where teams flew in and then straight back out.
So, Pricey, from obviously now you're a general manager of the Bulldogs, but from an ex-player's point of view, what would you think? I mean, you'll understand exactly what the New Zealand boys are going through, having played over there and the restrictions and whatever else around travel. How would you feel in a player's shoes right now, just with the scenario or what you've got to go through? Is it worth playing? What would be going through your mind as a player?
I think you've probably seen the players' opinion has changed dramatically, as has the whole, virus information and what we're allowed to do and not allowed to do. So, at the end of the day, if the boys aren't playing, we don't get paid, and if we don't get paid, we don't have jobs, and that's everyone. So I think they've sort of understood that, and I think they're a bit more aware that they do have to certainly look at things that they probably weren't willing to look at the start of this whole thing. And, whatever that might be, and that's why there've been so many different discussions and so many different sort of proposals put forward, try and come up with something that'll work best for all parties, I suppose. There's so many parties involved. You got television, you got the game, you got the families, you got the players, you got the staff, you got so many different people, communities all involved in it, trying to control the virus.
Pricey, with the players and not getting paid, are they talking how much they're going to reduce the contracts? Have you heard any wind on that? If they occur that it'll be a 15-week season, would it be a reduction in their contract or?
What was that, mate? Was it reductions in their contract?
Yeah, so obviously the players are on, some of them are on $1 million a year or whatever it may be. Is it the case that a few of them will have to take a pay cut if the season does kick back up at this stage?
So last I was aware of, that was agreed to by the players. Obviously, they've been paid since November 1. and I'm pretty sure from what I last understood was they're going to get paid for April and May. And then after the comp hadn't started, they weren't going to get paid anymore. So if it does start up like has been suggested, it'll depend on, you know, with your pay TV, Channel 9, all of those type of scenarios on whether they're going to pay the full amount, depending on what the actual product looks like compared to what they were promised. And then, you know, it goes back from there, I suppose, because, you know, the players get a percentage of the overall game's revenue. And if the overall game's revenue is a lot less than what it was, well, then that's going to be impacted on the players too.
Yeah, we saw the Channel 9, I think, today actually arced up about they hadn't been consulted through this process with kicking back up. So it'll be interesting to see, I suppose, with what they do moving forward. But with the players playing, and you'd know over your career, come through as a young fella, your priorities sort of change with, I suppose, based around footy, and then when family sort of comes along later on. Do you think there'll be a sort of differing results or differing thought process from the players, from the young fellas that are keen to get in there and get it done, and the older fellas who are probably that more family orientated at the moment?
Yeah, you generally, when I first came to the Bulldogs, there was a couple of older blokes who were married with kids, and it was a whole heap of us young fellas coming through, and then we're a bit older and married, and it sort of goes through those processes. So each club would be very different, but yeah, the psychology of the player definitely changes. I think as you get older, obviously you're a bit more experienced, so you know a bit more about what you're doing, rather than just on a flat stick. And then you've got other people to consider as well. So obviously moving to New Zealand with a wife and 3 kids is a lot different to almost straight out. You know, living in a house, being and boarding, so, and, you know, obviously retiring and stuff like that. There's something you brought up before about the players and whether there'll be some players who might retire a bit earlier than what they were going to, and I think those are the sort of things that could happen as well. You just don't know what players are thinking and where they're at in their life. You sort of do get to a stage where you're doing, but you know, you do have to start thinking about what's next, and sometimes that opportunity might come up straight away rather than in another 1 or 2 or whatever years, and you mightn't know whether there's that 1 or 2 or 3 years to come either. So, and you've got a long time to live after your footy career. That's the other thing I think that I realised at a young age is all the chiro and physio and everything as maintenance. It's more for your whole well-being of your whole life. You know, you play for 10, 12, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, footy, but you're going to be after the footy career, so you want to have the best life. So a couple of guys, you know, that have got some injuries that might sort of think that it's a bit better to finish up with this time to think about things and the longevity of their life.
Pricey, going back to your junior days, you're a Newtown Lions boy coming through the grades, and they've obviously come back on the scene. They've secured a grant, Newtown now, and they're going ahead with the project. Mate, what's it mean to you to see Newtown back in the comp and back having a home ground, mate?
I came to see grade play last Valleys, and it was really the blue and white back on the field again. I know the guys, you know, have worked so hard in trying to get that to happen, and it's been a long process. I'd love to have more teams in there, but, you know, this year there was a few more teams, which is going to be really exciting, and got a home, that sort of stuff. So, so grateful of so many people that have chipped in, both voluntary and also sponsored, and also a hand up to represent. So it's just a real shame that this has happened, because hopefully that won't lose, you know, the energy and enthusiasm and the snowball effect of getting it back going again. You know, who knows whether it's going to be a whole club like it used to be again, both juniors and seniors, or whether it'll just continue to grow the way it is. But I think from a game perspective too, we're really thriving and doing well. And, you know, over the years, there's been plenty of talent coming out of the area that have gone on to be amazing players for our game, happenings game as well, which is really exciting.
So, Pricey, for yourself now, do you pack up and go back to Sydney or with the news today?
What was that, mate? The last bit, sorry. Go
So
back
with
to Sydney.
that, so do you pack your bags and head back to Sydney now after the news today? What's your next steps?
It really do. The big, mate, when things restart, it's not going to necessarily be straight away. I think, as you saw just before it finished, you know, the admin was sort of put, or at the Bulldogs anyway, the admin were put on leave without pay. The actual players and the coaches, the people directly, the performance of the team stayed. And it was only for another couple of days, but that would probably more look like the model. You need the necessity to get the players onto the field. So, you know, your trainers, physios, coaches, all of those type of people connected with the actual players getting on the field. And then more of the ad people would come in at a different stage once things were going again. Funding's a big part of it. Our league club's still closed. When that's going to start up, if it's going to start, is crucial to the funding of the club, as well as the NRL, as well as everything else that comes in part with that. So I wouldn't say that because the announcement today that I'm going to be straight back to Sydney after my, you know, my time in isolation. Fingers crossed, mate, it won't be too far away, and whatever that is, I'll be around to try and make sure that we're going to achieve what we sort of set out to achieve at the start of the year, and that's a great season for the Bulldogs.
Brycey, in terms of player fitness and things like that, how do you see that this gap in time, how long will it take them to get momentum with fitness and that from your experience as a player?
Yeah, well, you can't beat match fitness, mate. The boys have had 2 games, sort of 3 or 4 weeks since, so. Our boys have continued to train. They haven't been able to do it, but the trainers have been in constant contact with them to make sure that they're maintaining their strength and their conditioning. I think it will be a case where it might be 4 weeks out or something, which is pretty much on the market to date, that they're saying is going to happen. The team or the squad will start to come back to a couple of weeks, and they'll just start ripping back in again. So it's a funny one because you're sort of starting all over again, but dealing with, and everyone's going to be in the same situation. So it's going to be interesting to see how this whole coronavirus and the impact of it, obviously the social, awareness of stuff, but then the boys are tackling it to get back and tackle normally again in the groups of 30. All that's sort of got to be answered going forward, and we'll only find out as the days tick by.
And, mate, the Bulldogs as a club, a very proud club. My old man is a diehards Bulldog supporter, bleeds blue. I suppose the last few years have been a bit lean, had some tough times and some rebuilding there. Do you think as a club you've sort of hit that I suppose, the low, and now you're on the way up? I know watching the Bulldogs, it seems you may not have the cattle on the field that other teams do, but the effort and the sort of that goes in that the boys are doing and building that sort of that passion within the club seems to be heading in the right direction and that corner's been turned to reach greater heights.
A lot of work been going on in the background. Obviously, you see the signings and the guys who have left over the last couple of years. Some really big names, a lot of internationals, the James Grahams and the David Clemmers and all of these type of guys who are very talented kids, the Morris twins, Josh Reynolds. We've had some young guys coming in, things doing a really good job in trying to get the best out of them. They're getting match experience, first grade experience. But it's the pathways that we've been working really hard on that feeds squad, which, the Canterbury Bulldogs was always a club that I suppose I was one of those kids. If you weren't from the area, you were brought in there, being identified, and then you were sort of taught the Bulldog way and come through the grades. So that's what we're trying to go back to. And we've got some really good kids coming through the grades. I think all of our lower grades teams are all in the semis. Harold Matthews, not Jersey Flags, just started, SG Ball. Those type of teams have been going pretty well. That's very exciting for the future of the club, but we still want to have success at the top. And I think in the first game against Farrow, we really probably a Corey, in that game might have made a difference. And then the Cowboys, we just didn't play very well that night. The Cowboys too good for us, and we sort of almost got them in the end. But that's what you have with the young team as well. Sometimes that inconsistency, but it's a sign that we're heading in the right direction.
Certainly some good signs for that first game of the season. As you said, they were certainly right in the dogfight. I'm a die-hard Eels man myself, so I was glad to see you on the other side of that one, mate. But what I was sort of, I suppose, how do you sort of bounce back from what's happened at the start of the year for your club, for one, and where to, like, in terms of signings to replace those holes that have been, I suppose, lost?
Was that signings, mate? You're sort of a bit scratchy.
Yeah. Is it like the club's position now? Is there a bit of salary cap room to sort of go after a bigger signing now that I suppose there's those holes that have been created?
So with what's happened now, you can't sign anyone at the moment. And even though, that was announced, that was just before the cut-off. So, there's no real signings. Clubs have obviously re-signed players, but register the contract until everything's back and sort of going again. So the NRL have got that control in regards to registering the contracts. I could go and sign tomorrow's off contract, but there's no guarantees of the contract being registered. So it's more of a gentleman's agreement between all the clubs that there'll be no one sort of being poaching or getting poached during this period. And then I'm sure there'll be a date that'll be notified again. But signing Luke Thompson for us was a really good signing. English front rower. He's coming to the club in 2021. So very excited about being able to announce him. And then, we've got another couple of spots open for 2021, which there's players playing for contracts. And obviously we're looking at, other players that could add to our squad that we can sort of identify as well.
Steve, it's been a tough start to the season, as mentioned, with obviously what happened with the Bulldogs add coronavirus. But have you enjoyed being a part of the club again? A club I know you love so much, and whilst you played some of your footy elsewhere at New Zealand, etc., have you really enjoyed being back involved with the Bulldogs and the words you used before, really showing these players the Bulldogs way? We might have lost him. So interesting to chat with Steve Price. Obviously, as I said, like when you look at his standing in the game of rugby league, what he achieved, and now being involved, obviously, in his capacity as a general manager with the Bulldogs. Might have him back. You with us, Pricey? Looks like he's back on board.
Sorry, mate.
Yep, we got.
I just cut out. I think. You said something about having been played there and then now being back there. Have I found it?
Yeah, have you enjoyed being back a part of the Bulldogs family in the role that you're filling now? Got people going everywhere here.
Musical chairs
and technology that's going all over the place. So
here we go.
Here he comes. Counting. There he is.
Back down the tunnel. I don't know if I'm going to ask the question again now. We might.
Bit of movement.
We'll see if we can pick him up. So we're chatting to Steve Price about all things footy. He's having a few little internet. See, that's what happens when you're in isolation. You go overboard on the internet. So,
Everyone's on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, everyone's on the Wi-Fi and everyone's on the Wi-Fi in the everyone's on the Wi-Fi in the Price household at the moment. So he's losing. We won't hold him too much longer. Have you got us, Pricey? I can see him. But yeah, so we'll see if we've got Pricey. So we'll get to ask him another question before we let him go. But as I said, it's been great to have him with us just to talk about this, particularly with everything that's happened basically in the last few hours. Where we saw just before coming on with the show, they talked about the return of the NRL. So we might have one more cracky there, Pricey. Can you hear us this time? No, we might have lost him here. But no, it's been great to have Steve Price with us on the program, as I said, as the general manager of the Bulldogs, and obviously his background and involvement with footy, and now seeing what the next step is for the NRL. So you're watching the Semi-Pros. We might take a break and more after the break on the Semi-Pros.
I come back on the board to start with, and then that was for a couple of years, so it was good to be able to get a bit of a understanding of what had gone on with the club and what we were trying to do, and then getting the opportunity to be GM of footy, something that I'd always sort of aspired to do while I was playing. That's what I did my MBA, and to actually do it at the club, like you say, the Bulldogs, was very exciting. So, working with guys like Dean Pay, my ex-teammate, Andrew Hill, who was actually the captain of Fairview Patrician Brothers the year we got beaten in the Commonwealth Bank Cup final. So he's my boss now. They got a 17-16 on that night. So he continually reminds me of that every day I come into work. But no, still a few people at the club that were there when I was there, and it's just really good to know, the players are certainly getting very well looked after these days, which, they do the performance side of that as well, like recovery, performance, and the type of training they do is phenomenal. It's all measured and calculated and all that sort of stuff. So they're always trying to improve their strength and speed and skill and their performances. All no different to when we were playing, mate, but they just got technology to be able to support it now.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to see you back involved with the game, mate. Look, as I said, you're in isolation there, so we really appreciate you giving us a bit of your time on the show. It's been quite interesting to have a chat to you and understand just exactly what's happening. So we wish you all the best and hope you get back down to Sydney soon and back in your role as general manager of the Bulldogs.
Thanks very much, boys. Awesome. Have fun.
That's Steve Price. Steve Price joined us on the program. So great to have him with us. We'll take a break. More on the Semi-Pros up next.
At the Southern Hotel, our Sunday steak special has been so popular, we want to offer it on Saturday too. 180-gram rump mignon, 400-gram New York cut T-bone, or a huge 500-gram grain-fed rump, all for just $23.95. It's better at the Southern.
Welcome back. You're with the Semi-Pros. It was great to have Steve Price with us there on the program. So, isn't that interesting? So the bloke who's his boss played for the team that beat him in the good old Commonwealth Bank Cup back in, what year would that have been? I don't know. Someone could be able to tell me. That would have been early 90s anyway. Yeah. They went all the way to the final. So Harristown that year, they had a fair team.
Doonimans as well. Silver.
Yeah.
Who else is in there?
Oh, they had a fair squad. There was some, I think there's some of the players that came out of it that went on to play. There's some old tapes of it you see sort of getting around of some of the guys that were involved there. So, but isn't that interesting? So when I spoke to Pricey last week, we were trying to get him on the show last week and said that they were in the process of, because everything had been shut down, the footy staff had been stood down. Obviously, he headed back to the Sunshine Coast where he was based after finishing footy. And got to go through 14 days of isolation. He's up to day 9, and now if they start on the 28th of May, you go back across the border, you're going to have to go through the same process again, go through another 14 days, or you can do anything.
He's an amazing bloke too, isn't he? We didn't even touch on his footy career, but he went to the lofty heights, played, at the highest level, and we didn't even touch on that, just what he's achieved.
He's in the best couple of props in his time, wasn't he?
Yeah, certainly. Probably ever.
Yeah, 100% for Queensland. Like, think of all those years to Origin. Who were the two bookends? Himself and Petro Civonicidi.
That's right.
Yeah,
we didn't even touch on his footy career. That's how much he's achieved post football.
And then what he did at the Warriors, and then he was back in Queensland, and as I said, studied all over for all those years. And now he's the GM of footy for the Canterbury Bulldogs. So to work for the club that he played for, it would obviously be something pretty special. And as you can see, still pretty proud of where he's from, and he would have been none happier than him to see Newtown back. There's been some pretty good Newtown boys that have progressed through the ranks.
Certainly has.
He comes back regularly too. Like,
yep.
Oh, Pete Dan tells me he comes back and does all the jersey presentations and all the fundraisers. He comes back on as well, so he's pretty heavily involved with getting Newtown back on their feet too.
Yeah, no, he's a great local ambassador and great local supporter. So, Elite Cryotherapy poll, guys, we put up one there earlier in the week. I might try and bring it up. There's some interesting answers to it. I shared a little, well, I suppose a poll here. I suppose it was worst signing your club has ever made. Now, so this could be interesting. This could go a while. So, worst signing your club has ever made. I'm going to share a few that were sent through. Cameron Moody, speaking of proud
Blue Bags.
This would be no surprise. Bulldogs and Sharks, Aaron Woods. He's always into Aaron Woods. Oh, Moods.
He hates him, doesn't he?
Steve Glover, Darius. Jeff Roberts.
You're a Broncos man, Steve.
Jeff Roberts, our wonderful producer behind the scenes at Power FM. Adam Blair at the Tigers. Probably fair too. He's been pretty ordinary for the Tigers. He would have got Tigers have made some bad signings over the years though. Nick Lindenberg, Cowboys. Unfortunately, Mr. Barber. Yeah, that's probably fair. Joel Stower, you even got one in here. Chock Watmow came to Para. Yeah. With an 80-year-old's body. Peter Spencer's got an interesting one. The NRL themselves for signing the Titans.
Robbie Glover would love that one.
Yeah, wouldn't he?
Mick Frappel chimed in there, said it could take all night if talk gets to the Titans. Matt Jolly, Kieran Foran for the Bulldogs, $1 million plus for, we know that's right. Tim Morris is Martin Kennedy. Would give Jack Bird a run for his money at the Broncos. And Stephen Lee said Coach Paul McGregor, with the players that he's signed. Josh Dugan, Tim Laffey, Darius Boyd. Boyd's got to run a couple of times for a few clubs. It's a bit harsh on Darius at St George. It's only won him a premiership, or one in a premiership winning team.
Yeah.
And
Dukes.
Yeah. So, so there you go. So there's a few. Righto. What do you got, Joel? You've got Chock Watmow?
Mate, I could rattle off a few of them here.
Stephen Kearney.
Oh, mate, Stephen Kearney is the worst coach. Even still. What he did at Parramatta is how he ever got another job, I'll never know. But, I might run with him then. I already put out the Chock Watmow and the 80-year-old body, but I'm going to go Stephen Kearney as a coach, bring in all the Usos, and then Ricky Stewart have to ship him out years later.
So Stephen Kearney for you. Troy, worst signing?
Joel Clinton. And Brisbane signed Joel Clinton and had to release Petro, who was asking for the same money. It was absolutely ridiculous. So Petro went to Penrith and got him up and running, and then they bought him back for bigger money, I think it was. It was absolutely ridiculous, and Joel Clinton just did nothing. That was a terrible signing. Joel Clinton for me, for Brisbane.
Steve, what do you got?
Darius.
Wow.
That's all you need to say.
Arias.
On a heavy back ender.
With his dad at the Knights.
Yeah, off him. I was thinking, and I know I get a bit of stick here saying different clubs and stuff, which I have over the years, but I'll go with one I was originally with, obviously, and returned to in the Broncos. Might be a bit harsh, but Jack Bird. Like, he's on.
Very harsh.
Well, he hasn't played a game, and the games that he has played, well, he's tied up the salary cap to the tune of nearly $1 million. And he hasn't. How many games has he played? And the games that he has played have not been real
He doesn't
crazy.
have much luck.
No, as I said, it might be a bit harsh, but still, like, in reality, for the money that he's getting paid, what he's delivering is the reverse, isn't it?
He was out of shape when he got there.
That's what I mean. So
You can make the same argument for Anthony Milford, couldn't you?
he's won a few games. He's going all right.
I think he's delivered a bit.
Ben Barber, another one for the Bronx.
Benji Marshall.
Benji.
Benji was a good signing for the Bronx.
Yeah, I thought he was good too.
I don't know. He was a great signing. They signed him for about $1.50, and he outperformed blokes like Jack Bird and others who were on, as I said, a squillion. What about Jeff Roberts pointed out about the Tigers? What about this? Might be controversial. What about Robbie Farah?
Bring him back.
No. The contract they had him on.
Oh yeah.
Just absolutely had them.
That was just a bad contract, wasn't it?
That's terrible play, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Strung up by the Tigers who couldn't win, couldn't make the 8, yet were a club that you kept seeing they had to some young and good emerging players that they had, like Addo Carr, like Martin Tapau, like numerous of them where they said, salary cap squeeze onto the Tigers, so they had to let go. Your man, Moses, like all of these players that they couldn't afford to hang on to. Tedesco even. Like, how's that remotely possible? And then you worked out they were playing Robbie $1 bazillion, and they had some bad contracts. Blair's probably another one. So the amount of money they had tied up in that. Or even look at the Sharks. When they're going through last year, the amount of money that was tied up in Dugan. What's the fullback that came from Penrith? Moylan. Anyway,
Morris's.
Multiple players. They had about Fafita. But they had about 4 blokes that were tying up nearly 70% of their salary cap. That's why when they've got the likes of Bronson Sherry and some of these other players that they're probably going to lose, or they have to. That's why they're trying to get rid of Dukes or get him to retire.
Yeah.
Free up some space.
I reckon the worst one, and I think someone you said commented on there, Kieran Foran, mate. He was done when he was at Para. Then he's gone to the Warriors, so the Warriors fell for his trap. And then the Dogs have come out and said, yeah, we'll have you. Mate. He's played, 5 games for him or something, hasn't he?
Yep.
Foran's pretty ordinary.
He was an injury-prone player when he got someone too, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
100%.
He flipped his card.
Say from Bird, like Brisbane signed Bird, he wasn't injury-prone at the time. He's now.
No, yeah, true. He wasn't.
Straight out.
That's exactly what I'm saying is, like, it'd be like someone jumping on Jack Bird now for massive dollars. And, he's not going to get that big contract now.
No.
Before, and somehow he's wound up on the big contract still. Even with his problems on the punt.
Maybe he gets good tips.
Yeah, surely.
Obviously not.
Maybe that's why he's on big money, to try and pay the bookies back.
Oh, possibly. But no, that's what we put up in our Elite Cryotherapy poll question this week on the Semi-Pros. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Southern Hotel Shot Clock. We're going to take you through day 2 of the championship. See if Steve Glover, the old golden glove after last week, pockets full, money coming out his ears after last week. Let's see what he can come up for us this week. So that's up next. Stay with us on the Semi-Pros.
At the Southern Hotel, our Sunday steak special has been so popular, we want to offer it on Saturday too. 180-gram rump mignon, 400-gram New York cut T-bone, or a huge 500-gram grain-fed rump, all for just $23.95. It's better at the Southern.
Summer has arrived at Smithy's TGW Gym with new morning operating hours. Come and make use of our fully functional gym. We have a full range of cardio, weights and boxing equipment at your disposal. You can also soak up the atmosphere in our historic cafe with a coffee and toast for $5, along with a free 5-day gym pass for you or a friend. Summer is here, so drop into Smithy's TGW Gym today. 65 Anzac Avenue, Toowoomba.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Semi-Pro Southern Hotel Shot Clock. Thanks to the Southern Hotel. Of course, it is always known as your home for live sport. But at the moment, of course, not much live sport on the big screen with the Southern. But you can still support the Southern, all their wonderful meals and wonderful meal specials via takeaway. So make sure you get down to the Southern Hotel and enjoy some of their meals there as well. We might have a few little promos coming up with the Southern Hotel in the coming week. So stay tuned for that. Let's go straight to the money, man. The G-Love, Steve Glover, cleaned him up last week. Eric the Eel on top in the derby, looked home, ran a hole. So for the 1x12 players, so
It looked like Eric, yeah, for the Queenslanders.
It look home.
Tracking down.
It looked, 200 to go.
Just wobbled at the 200 and then battled from then on. So I might have hit its peak. But anyway, not a bad result. Group 1 in the derby.
As I said,
Third in the Group 1.
As I said, for your 1x4 sort of players, which is a lot out there. That's the way to go. And then Natoya.
That
was unreal, G. Take me hat off to you, mate. That was unbelievable.
What price did you get?
So you got enough.
Can't be greedy.
He took the tote.
Best
got enough. No, it was a good run. So like I thought, they might be getting out wide and run home there and got its opportunity. So got the chocolates. Then got a bit more than chocolate, a bit of pizza, a bit of champagne after it.
How good was that? G said he did the old Tommy Veronicas, put the thongs on, Dale, we're going to Macca's.
How good was Wendy Roach's post-race interview? Is that one of the best you've seen?
Yeah, I didn't actually see it. But
that's me diamond of the week. Thanks for ruining it.
Ripping in a bit of a pizza down the gob of Natoya and then pouring some moe down its throat too. So
it'll be especially what other bit of ham and pineapple, supreme. What is it?
It'll be hungry.
Has the supreme with the capsicum sauce.
That's right. Is it? Yes. She listed what it was. So then she said sometimes.
Oh, mate usually gets him the chicken schnitzel.
No, exactly, from the members bar or something, but that's obviously closed, so they couldn't get that. So
she should get on one of these pizza mobs and get one named after him.
100%, the Natoya.
Yeah.
The Natoya. So, righto, G, what do you got for us? You can kick us off in the Oaks.
In the Oaks. I do like one here, actually, and I've backed it a few times this prep. The old Aussie Bloodstock, sticking with them. They've been good following the last couple of months, and they got one at odds here, Game of Thorns. So should have won out at Kembla in the Kembla Glen Classic, the Group 3, come from back. Outside the top two, I don't know, they're the obvious picks. You don't really get too much value, I don't think, in the first three, but they're probably the obvious three. But this one at $17. I think they'll ride it a bit more forward. So it's been getting a long way back and just struggling to make up the ground, looking like it's a chance. But I think they'll ride a bit more forward and get a spot. And I think it'll give itself the opportunity to run over the top. So the 5 Game of Thorns, I think you get $17.
Excellent. Game of Thorns for the value man Glover. Troy Gurski, what are you steering us into here in the Oaks?
He's liking the value these days, G-Man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't he?
Very nice. I'm going with one of the preferred ones, going with the top weight, Probabeel. I think it wasn't a bad run last start. Opie aboard. I think it'll be there a long way. I'm going to back it, Probeel.
Joel?
Yeah, I'm with Troy. I've been tossing up between it and Colette all bloody last couple of days, but it's obviously been thereabouts, Probeel, but I'm going to switch and go Colette, so there's probably good reason for everyone going back Probeel now, but I've been on Colette since its run at Kembla that day, and it was pretty big that day. Obviously massive last week, so it's just got to do it against the top graders now, but I can't turn me back on it now. Glenn Boss aboard, barrier 4, should just get a good run in behind the speed. I'm going to stick with it, Colette.
I'm like Steve, going for a bit of value. I want to have something on a 1x4 basis. The 9, Quintessa. Last start ran third to Colette It did all the bullocking work, all the hard work on top of the speed, then had the audacity to kick away. It's a maiden too, mind you. So,
Yeah.
but that's not unusual in races like this when you get out to a journey. Nash Willer on board. Mark Newms is the trainer. But, yeah, I just sort of it did some work with a softer run in transit this week. Yeah, I think it'll, and it's getting up to a distance that obviously it's more bred to handle, I suppose. So I think it'll lap up the 2,400 metres, and with a bit of a softer run in transit, I think it can run a race. So Quintessa for me, it is number 9. There's our thoughts on the Oaks. Southern Hotel shot clock. Let's have a look at the Sydney Cup. 3,200 metres, Group 1. Steve, what are you on here? Plenty of your mob to choose from.
Yeah, I'm going with one too, and I think this is an absolute special in the Toppy in Mustajir. Pretty ordinary race, I reckon. The Sydney Cup was 3,200. There's some average, very, very average horses in this, and you go back to its run in the Caulfield Cup over 2,400, beaten 1.8 over behind Murder Glace. Down to Clare, and then it went to the Cup, and I think it. Might have had enough by then. Didn't run too well, but it was good first up, really good second up. Very Went give it Winburn last start, but 3,200. I think it'll run the trek, and barrier 4 with the smasher aboard. I think it's just too classy for him. So I'm pretty keen. Mustajir. Troy.
What price is the 4?
It's a great question.
$7.50, mate.
$7. Yeah, I'm going with Raheen House. I think it didn't look too bad last start. Well, $7.50 wasn't a bad price in a pretty open, top-looking race. So I'm going to back the 4 Raheen House.
4 Raheen House, Joel.
I'm with Young Rascal, the favourite. I think they don't bring him out here for a haircut, these Poms, and it was enormous first up run. Obviously brought over from the Isle of the UK, and obviously all over very elegant down the straight. Mugger 2, wasn't it? The $1.70 favourite it ran over the top of and was running away. That Tom Marquand, he's a jockey in form, and I think this will be pretty handy, this one.
So you're at the Rascal, Young Rascal?
Young Rascal for me.
Righto. I'm with... Hang on, backwards and forwards in a couple there. I agree with what Steve says. A pretty ordinary race, to be honest. I'm with the Baker Forsman runner in the chosen one, so that being the 6. I think it's run in the Mannion behind Young Rascal that we refer to. Wasn't a bad run. And then it was okay, did enough for me in terms of a preparation for a run in the Melbourne Cup. I don't think it really likes the really, really wet. So a little bit more back on top of the ground. Karen McAvoy on board. I'm with the chosen one, number 6. Let's go to the 8th. Great race this. Cracking race this. Group 1, Wait for Age. I refer to the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. No winks, so it's winnable. Steve, what are you on in the Queen Elizabeth?
It is winnable, and I reckon I've got a special here as well, and that's from across the ditch, Tiako Shark. I was tossing up between Very Elegant and Tiako Shark, and goes back to the Chipping Norton run where Tiako Shark ran away from it, coming from right back in the field, and then beaten in the George Ryder last start on the track where you just couldn't make any ground. And it did run home pretty well, got beaten a length and a half by Dreamforce and Bostonian. And there's plenty of speed here, so they'll all get their chance. It'll fan out wide, and I think it'll be good enough to run over the top of them.
Shark.
$6, $5-6. So.
Troy?
I'm gonna crack at the Cup winner, Bound to Clare.
Yep.
I thought its run last start was enormous. It was a great run.
It was
last
enormous.
Start. Wouldn't normally probably back it at the 2000, but it had a bit of form. It's not too bad over 2000 as well. I think it's got 2 for a couple of places, I think it is. So, yeah, it was an enormous run last start, so I'm going to have a crack at Bound to Clare.
Bound to Clare. Joel, you're pretty keen on one.
Yeah, I'm keen on this. I do agree with you, though, Troy. It was enormous last start, Bound to Clare, but, again, they don't bring these over for a haircut, these fellas. They know what they're doing, these Japs. And this
Imagine if they did.
Yeah, can you just trim this up while it's in and I'm shooting home? Mate, this thing, it beat Lee Grousseau in a run 3 lengths to Armin who was obviously in the conversation with Winks as, best of the year. I think this thing will just win. Toppy. Dannon Premium with the best jockey in the land on the back of it, James O'Shea's favourite hoop, James McDonald, who's absolutely airborne at the moment. I think you probably get $4. It opened $4 in the 360. You probably get back out. Just have the house on.
Dannon Premium.
I'll tell you what, I would be keen, but I don't. If it's a wet track, I reckon it's never seen a wet track, so
yeah, that's a risk.
What's going to. I reckon you're taking skinny odds to find out.
Tell you what,
particularly with your house on it,
they're pretty fair horses though. The ones they bring over. You've seen that obviously in the Group Ones last year, so I'm happy to have a play at those sort of prices. It's obviously, like we've already said, the best horses in the country just about racing in this race, so it's going to be one to watch, that's for sure.
Righto, I'm on the bottom weight, or when I say the bottom weight, the bottom numbered horse in the race, that being 13, Melody Bell. I thought its run of the Doncaster was the best run in the race. I don't know what Opie was sort of doing, to be honest. He had it carting wide. It did a lot of work. It couldn't win on weights, and it still got within 1.4 of them here. I just wish Opie was possibly on it, but obviously I understand he's got the choice of the two. He's on Tiapia Shark, so that worries me a little bit. Just obviously, I'd imagine he'd know more about them than most, and he's stuck with the Shark. He's ridden obviously both of them near exclusively. They've never really clashed, but they've clashed here and he's chosen the Shark. But Karen McAvoy jumps on board Melody Bell. And these are around $11-12 or something when I was looking there earlier. So
$11, mate, yeah.
Yeah, look, it's, run second in the McKinnon behind Magic Wand. Go back last preparation, then it's come back this time in. Was very good in the Futurity on a track where you couldn't make any ground. Was really good in the All-Star Mile and around third that day as well. And as I said, enormous in the Doncaster. So into this, I think it's cherry ripe and it's ready to win. So Melody Bell for me, the 13. Let's go to the Coolmore Legacy Stakes, the final Group 1 on the card here. 1,600 metres over the mile, weight for age for the fillies and mares. So the girls go around here. Steve, what are you on?
Yeah, come up with one at odds. A lot of them come out of that. They're backing up from last week. And I don't know, just got a question mark over horses backing up off those heavy tracks in a week, being able to have the legs under them. But this one, again, it was massive. On that day, one of the days you couldn't make any ground. Noir, the 8. Run home behind Positive Peace, meets it again. Positive Peace is the chances galore. So if you get the winner of this, if you're in the quaddie, you'd want a field job. So
yeah, exactly.
But heaps of pace, plenty of pace, so they'll get their chances. I think it is pretty good. Ran home well behind Connet Tipatio, and it's I think it'll be there. I think it's about $15 as well. Miss Kathy O'Hara aboard for Chris Waller, and that'll do to Brutus Homer in a succulent quaddie.
Well, you're shifting off your horse, Positive Peace.
Yeah, off Positive Peace and off. We've got a few horses in.
Yeah.
Toya and
Toya would be still hung over.
I just think there's just way too much. I think there's just too much pressure in the race for Positive Peace. There's so many go forward horses. Brutus Homer in a succulent.
Yeah, beautiful. Righto, Troy, what are you on?
I'm going to stick with one that I backed last start, Emin Geary. I think it ran around 5th or 6th last start. Probably was its best run, but owes me a few bucks this horse. I'm going to stick with it and hope we can get the chocolates with it. So number 13, Emin Geary for me.
Emin Geary. Joel?
Don't talk about horses owing you a few bucks, Troy. The bottom weight here had it anchored in every bloody multi in the world and it got rolled last start. Yeah, yuck. But it'll come out and win this one. Waller Camp obviously know what they're doing. I think the last race was over the 2,000 when it come up against Probabile and the likes. Obviously, Shout the Bar pulled their pants down on that occasion, but I think it'll be better for the run, be fitter, and back to the 1,600 tick. Fun Star. I'm going again.
Fun Star, righto. I'm with. I can't believe I've come up with this, to be honest. I was actually in Steve's corner there with Noir. I was on Noir last start and I was set to go with it. But I switched camps and I'm still trying to convince myself why. And with the top weight, Elise. from the Cummings yard. I think it won this race last year, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, I think it's...
2017 as a filly.
It's humming along okay here. Its win in the Apollo a couple of starts back there was really good. It was playing probably in the Canterbury Stakes, I'd have to say, but that was at the 1300 there at Group 1 level. The George Ryder, again, wasn't a bad run on a day when you couldn't make any ground either. That was that Mad Leaders Day from memory as well with Rose Hill, and I still thought it was pretty good through the line. So it's got class on its side. It's got a horrible barrier to overcome, but this is its go. Randwick's its go, the Miles its go, and it'll get its chance to win a Group 1 here for the Blue Army. So I'm with Elise. All right, that's a look at our thoughts on the 4 big Group 1s. And this will be, the culmination of the championships. It's been a different championships, that's for sure, of course, with no crowds or anything along those lines. So it's made it rather interesting. But we'll shape up to that. So Southern Hotel, don't forget to support the guys there at the Southern Hotel. So jump onto their Facebook page, have a look. They've got an awesome takeaway menu. Make the most of that. Support local during this difficult time. So hopefully you can get along and support the Southern Hotel. We'll take a break on the semi-pros. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. We'll look at our Rocks and Diamonds of the week and also our multi of the week.
Hi guys, Lockie here from Hogans Family Jewelers. Today we're looking at how you select a perfect diamond. We need to consider the 4 C's: cut, colour, clarity and carat weight. In terms of discussing the cut of a diamond, we need to consider the aspects of the qualities of cut. At Hogans we only source triple excellent cut diamonds. In terms of colour, we look for the perfect white stone. We source stones from a D through to a G in colour, the top 4 colour gradings. Clarity is another really important factor in selecting your diamond. We don't want to look at the diamond every day and see inclusions or marks in the stones that distract from the beauty of the piece. The final of the 4 C's is carat weight. A lot of people believe that a diamond's value is based just on its carat weight. This isn't truly the case. It's a combination of all the 4 C's put together. There's one final hidden factor that I need to discuss about finding the perfect diamond. It's called fluorescence. When she wears the ring in natural sunlight, UV light, where the diamond is supposed to sparkle at its optimum level, you don't want any reaction. You don't want the diamond to go foggy or a milky colour or even a little neon blue sort of tinge through the diamond. This is why we only sell nil fluorescence diamonds and make sure that that diamond stays crystal clear whether you're indoors or outdoors. There'll be no reaction to natural sunlight. Fluorescence is one of the largest factors of devaluing a diamond. Be careful. Out there you might find diamonds that seem cheap, but truly they're going to be cheap for a reason. At Hogans, we prefer our clients to experience superior quality diamonds. We only source the highest grade of GIA certified diamonds. That's the Gemological Institute of America, the harshest grading lab in the world. Some of you may have done some research on diamonds before and may fully understand the 4 C's. But if not, we've got knowledgeable staff that will help you and guide you through selecting the perfect diamond. At the end of the day, it's all about quality, and at Hogans, we prefer quality.
Thanks for joining us on the Semi-Pros. Before we wrap up the program, let's have a look at Hogan's Family Jewelers Rocks and Diamonds of the week. So what's the best and worst of the week been for you at home? If you've got any thoughts, share with us. Rocks and Diamonds. What do we got this week, Joel? Have you got a rock or a diamond to share with us this week?
Yeah, I've got a rock. Nat Fyfe, obviously the captain of the Fremantle Dockers. He's out photographed having a paddle around in Margaret River. He's been investigated by the police, obviously, for not adhering to the social distancing laws that are now obviously in place, and it cost him a few bucks in the court, by the sounds of things, if he gets a fine or whatever it may be. So, Fyfey, stay at home, mate. Do as you're told instead of trekking on down the beach.
Righto. Have you got a diamond?
Oh, we're running diamonds as well straight away.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Mate, I might even make the tab me diamond this week after what they did to those. They've given one back for the punters, you know. So I don't know if you saw this on last Saturday. There's a story come out during the week. Last Saturday, the Tab were offering punters a bit of a cash out option on the quaddie at Sydney if you're alive. And one bloke opted the cash out. He had 6% of the quaddie, and they gave him $36,000 or something along the line. So good on them. I don't think they're going to honour it though. I think it might have been a glitch in the system, but.
No, it throws everyone's accounts.
Yeah, right.
No, old mate who got it, originally, there was a group, a syndicate have got him. They got a $360,000 cash out. And he's rung old mate, his mate who was alive, and told him, check your cash out, see if you got something. And that's the old mate over 36. So.
Got the sting.
But anyway, no, they canned that pretty quick.
So they didn't pay it out?
Nah.
All right, well, that can't be a dime. That'd have to be a rock. So I'm going to run with story of Wendy Roach, obviously the trainer of G's Horse Natoya. We spoke about it a bit before there where, the celebrations that were in hand after winning the Donny. And she was going to take it home for a pizza. I thought that was unbelievable. I love seeing a battler get home in big races like that. And, that sort of story. I've watched it a few times. Jeez, it still gets funnier every time you watch that interview. So, yeah, good on you, Wendy Roach. That can be my diamond.
I'll chime in with you there. Mine's on a similar line. Mine was for the jockey. And did you see that video that came out that they shared? That they shared post race, because obviously there's no crowd, so you can hear everything. And someone had took a video right up basically on the rails, and you can hear all the jockeys cheering and congratulating Jimmy Ennis Jr. Yeah, he's ridden his first Group 1 winner. Not good enough. Got the shaft this week. Bossy's on. So
I just saw that.
Yeah,
I was like, unreal. And I mean, it's not like I could say, oh, look, Bossy couldn't ride it at the 50. I said, yeah, he actually could. He chose to ride Brandenburg instead. But anyway, we're going to throw him on this week with the 57. Thanks for that. You did a good job last week. But yeah, so. What was I doing, rock or diamond? But anyway, yeah, so no, I wish they would have kept him on. But yeah, no, I thought that was great to see. I love seeing a battler win a Group 1 rather than the usual suspects win them all the time. So Belly gets a ride. He gets on this horse at $40-odd. He's only had 50-odd kilos and he's got it home. So good on him. My rock of the week, Troy, you'll be happy to hear this. Did you see we were talking about before about esports, and obviously with not a lot happening at the moment, you can bet on this esports. So in the NBA, they've had NBA players playing each other in a tournament in NBA 2K, and you can bet on it. And anyway, Kevin Durant played Derrick Jones Jr. in one of the round games anyway. So it worked out that when it was aired, it wasn't actually live, so the game had already been played, and obviously someone had leaked the information. And Durant was hot favourite apparently. Someone had leaked information, obviously, that Durant had got rolled. So they've truckloaded into the other bloke. They haven't taken a bet on Durant. So, yeah, so I thought, well, if you're going to bet on that sort of stuff and you're not going to do it live, well, you deserve what you get.
Good
anyway. Exactly. So esports, punting on playing video games that they're airing on TV. There's not even live, but they're making out is live. And obviously, old Durant's probably been known in his day to be a bit of a snake, hasn't he? And a few
he's laid it.
Exactly. He hasn't got enough money, but he's laid himself. And they've truckloaded into Derrick Jones Jr. and they've got the shallot. Unreal.
It's like shilling peas, isn't it?
Oh, it's ridiculous. It is. It is.
An easy game.
It's an easy game when you know you're going to win. So, and they obviously knew that. So, yeah. In the bin for me. Troy, rock or diamond, either or both. You got anything?
Oh, go rock. Some idiot about a year ago.
I was going to say this
was bagging esports, so I'm going to have to make myself a rock. I'm rocking the week, mate. Like, bag the shit out of esports. It's all we can watch now. It's the future. I've gone 180. I'm with esports. So I found myself on the.
You were joking. See, you're an ambassador for esports.
Well, I'll tell you a story. I was on the
Xbox.
I found myself watching the Tetris titles. No, seriously, sitting there, I was flicking through and I was stopped on the Tetris titles. Oh, what a game! Hey, what a game the Tetris titles were. So some little Chinese fella, beat a little Japanese bloke, and
you'd be signing up for Frogger or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah. What else do we do? It's all we can watch now, esports. So.
Right.
Yeah, and me diamond was also while I was flicking through the TV.
Esports.
ESPN, the Ocho channel. Oh, some of the stuff they got on there. We had hot dog eating competitions. We had the Glover family's favourite, cornhole. They had a bit of that on there. They had this soccer table tennis game where you got to headbutt the soccer ball. They had that on there. And what was the other one they had on there? Oh, dodgeball. They had the World Cup of dodgeball on there as well. So hours of fun. So ESPN.
Ben Stiller and the boys play?
No, they had posters of them up around the place, but they didn't play. So, yeah.
Outstanding.
ESPN show.
Righto, G, finish us off. What do you got?
Oh, well, let's go to the person. What's the old mate's call at Gold Coast? Terry, what's his name?
Terry Spargo.
Spargo.
Gates fly.
Yeah, no, I'm going to make him a rock because he called a thing I backed in race 2. And I was listening on the radio and he called it winning, and it didn't.
He is up there with some of the worst calls.
Hang on, but did you see it? Have you seen the replay?
No, hold on, man. Think of Kevin Kemp's flying down the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch the replay because...
I didn't think it got there, and then when they saw its number flash up, I was like, oh, there you go. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I only had a little 20 winner on it, but anyway.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How many times?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So 20 straight out. Anyway, you give me the rock. But no, I'm Diamond of the Week. I'm going to go Nick Kyrgios. Like he's copped a few rocks. But putting it out there, he was behind the fire relief when they were copping all that. And now he's anybody who's eating cardboard or really, really battling, he said, give him a call and he'll get some food around to you. So throwing out the lifeline for anybody who really is on that last-ditch effort and gone through a bit of hardship. So good on you, Nick. I told you he might have been turning the corner, and maybe he is.
Maybe he is. No, he's doing well. Righto, let's wrap up the show with our multi of the week. What do we got? We got a winner. Steve, you're the on fire man. You can kick us off.
Yeah, this is short. This is a certainty in Brisbane. Race 8, number 1, Baccarat Baby. Yeah, I don't know. The internet's gone, but it's in just an average, ordinary Saturday race, and this has got group form from Winter Carnival, from Spring, mate. It'll win and win by 4.
What race is it, mate?
Race 8, number 1, Baccarat Baby.
Tell you the price. Hang on, 280.
280. Yeah, that's stealing.
So you're on the Baccarat Baby. All right. Roy, what are you steering us into?
Sticking with Grizzy as well. Grizzy race 6, number 7, Wapiti. $6. It's second up. 1 from 1 when it's second up. I think $6 is a nice little price. Bang that into Steve's 280 and we're flying. Brisbane race 6, number 7, Wapiti.
Righto. Joel, what have you got for us?
Mate, Randwick race 4, number 2, the Millions winner, the second in a slipper. I'm talking about away game. It is dead set. A horse that is flying. If it's got any fuel left after the slipper second, it'll be winning this. It's 320 away game. It's a proper horse.
Away game to win there, and I'll go with a winner at Brisbane. Pakenham.
Dapto race 1.
So I've been going on this show, tipping horses. I probably should, I don't know. What?
Go esports, mate.
Come on,
esports. I'll go on Kevin Durant. I told you about Kevin, what he did. So he's out. He's all sorts out. I'll go with Sydney as well. We'll go with one of the ones I mentioned here earlier that I think's a really good chance to be a winner, and that is Melody Bell. What race was it? Race 8:13. There you go. Race 8:13, Melody Bell for me, as for all the reasons outlined earlier. I think I think it'll race well, obviously. So there's the multi. Let's see if we can come up with a winner or two. What's on this weekend? Long weekend. It's Easter.
Easter Bunny's coming. Leo's birthday tomorrow, little man.
Yep.
Big 5.
No party.
No party. Just footy in the backyard.
With 2 people.
Yep. Run it straight.
Yeah. Well, I doubt he will somehow. He'll go around the house, around everything else. So we wish everyone a very happy and safe Easter, very different Easter this year. Thank God for the racing. I think we can say it's on, obviously. Nothing else is doing, so we can enjoy the championships on Saturday. Hopefully we can help you find a winner or two. It's been another great program on the semi-pros. Big thanks to Steve Price for joining us, and thanks as well to, just want to say, to obviously to the sponsors that are with us, to Rebel Sport as well. Obviously, normally we run our competitions with Rebel for our junior competitions and giving away some vouchers along those lines as well. Rebel's still obviously operating in business at the moment. I was down there the other day, actually. So pop down and see the team there, Rebel. We might have to look at a way that we can give away some of that during this time as well. Might talk to the guys from Rebel Sport. No sport on, obviously, but to give away something there as well. And we said the Southern Hotel, thanks to those guys. If you can get out and support them as well. So if you're looking for takeaway meals, that's the place to go. And also to Lockie Hogan, his team from Hogan's Family Jewelers. And also actually I spoke with Leon Spain during the week from Elite Cryotherapy. So those guys obviously still operating, everything on those lines. So obviously the social distancing coming into play there, but they're still up and running. So support those guys as well. So support those who support us on the semi-pros. Boys, thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic Easter. And we look forward to doing it all again next week. Thanks for joining us.
Just about doing, mate. Surely. There you go. That's outstanding. Not much talent running around in our own backyard.
Ladies and gentlemen, the semi-pros. The semi-pros.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up.